Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for joining us. Parents say better health services are needed to serve children in our area, and they are calling on the local hospital to do more. CBC's Jacob Barker has our top story.
A Windsor woman is continuing her fight to demand better pediatric care in the region.
We do not expect to have everything that London Health Sciences Centre has or that DMC has, but there could be more.
Caitlin Lowe runs a Facebook group called Parents for Critical Pediatric Care in Windsor, where she says hundreds of parents speak out about ways they've been let down by the current system. But her advocacy began a couple of years ago after her son Sully was born with a chronic gut condition. During emergency situations, he had to be transported to facilities in London and Detroit. Much of his regularly scheduled care also had to be taken care of at London Health Sciences Centre Children's Hospital. Those are locations with specialists that regularly treat pediatric cases. We first spoke with Lowe back in 2023. Since then, her call for better pediatric care hasn't subsided.
Our area has been underserved for a very long time, and it is very difficult to leave for hospital care for our children. It's very costly, and it's very difficult to not be close to home and your other children when you're gone.
Speaking outside Windsor Regional Hospital with the group 2nd Street, they highlighted cash they feel is being wasted at Windsor Regional Hospital by running 2 Tim Hortons franchises. These are numbers they say they received through FOI requests posted on their website.
They've been losing money, dumping it down the drain, along with the coffee. So this is money that could be much better used caring for patients. It's over the past decade, they've wasted about $3 million, and just over the past year, that was $500,000.
This money wouldn't grant us all of those things that we do need for pediatrics here, but it could help. It could maybe help fund a day shift of the pediatric diversion clinic.
In a statement to the CBC, the chief of pediatrics at Windsor Regional says it is always interested in expanding, but only where patient volumes support it. Also, that the hospital has recruited 3 new pediatricians and a pediatric oncologist in the past year, and added 8 new pediatricians over the past 3 years. As for the Tim Hortons, a hospital spokesperson says that $3 million over a number of years is a fraction of the overall budget, and it would not support adding specialized care services. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
One of the biggest car makers in the world and one with a big presence in Windsor is sounding the alarm over U.S. tariffs. Stellantis says President Donald Trump's global trade war is expected to cost the company about $1.7 billion U.S. in 2025. The parent company of brands like Chrysler, Fiat, Jeep, and Peugeot announced the hit to its projected earnings as Trump's deadline for a trade deal with Canada is just 3 days away. Stellantis says it could be forced to make some tough decisions to improve profitability. In addition to the Windsor assembly plant, Stellantis operates 2 others in Canada, employing almost 9,000 people. Stellantis vehicles that are partly manufactured in Canada fall under the CUSMA trade deal, but they face tariffs of 25% on the portions that are not American-made. Let's bring in Colette Kennedy now. Colette, that heat warning continues today, but it should be called off later tonight.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be dealing with it at least through tonight, perhaps actually even into a portion of tomorrow before we have that lifted by Environment Canada, because tomorrow is really kind of that transition day. I mean, we're looking at a temperature of 29. We were up at 30 degrees again, and it's so important to factor the humidity in because you got to add 10. The humidex right now is 39. But what I want to show you here are still some warm temperatures, but much more comfortable. Those will be coming our way. Also, the dew point coming down, so that stickiness and heaviness of the air will be reduced. But for now, we do have the heat warning, so look for this a little while longer. Let's get it out of here tomorrow, hopefully. But 22 overnight tonight with a slight shower chance, and then tomorrow back to 29, feeling like 39. Isolated thunderstorm chance in the afternoon, but I'll have more details on all of that coming up.
Thanks very much, Colette. And Windsor is not alone in dealing with the extreme heat that Colette was just mentioning. Almost 100 heat warnings were issued by Environment Canada on Tuesday. Unusually high temperatures caused sweltering conditions for millions of people in almost every region of the country. Some Canadians have been living with this blistering heat all summer. And as Ethel Musa reports, it may not ease up completely for months.
These New Yorkers are enjoying Canada's capital, but they know on days like this, staying hydrated is key.
It definitely feels like it's been getting hotter, so I guess it's a little bit worrisome in general.
Temperatures reaching well into the 30s, with the humidex in parts of Ontario making it feel hotter than 40 degrees. And the heat is stretching far beyond this province. Parts of BC, the Northwest Territories, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia were all under warnings on Tuesday.
We've seen a lot of these heat warnings across the country, and everybody shared in them. There's nobody been left out in the cold. Out in the prairies, they had them actually in May, and they've had them also in July. So nobody is feeling that they have been cheated.
Toronto is under its 5th heat warning this year, surpassing last year's total of 4 all summer.
We're just a little bit beyond the halfway point of summer. We still have a lot of summer to go.
He says the poor air quality from one of Canada's worst wildfire seasons only makes it harder to bear. These volleyball coaches have a plan for keeping their players safe.
We have kids that range from ages like 5 to 15, and so the young kids, we make sure they have a lot of shade breaks. And we have 6 coolers behind us right here, and they're done by 12 o'clock, so we have to fill them up again in the afternoons.
Parts of southern Europe are also sweltering under extreme heat, with wildfires burning in Greece and Turkey. And in the U.S., more than 150 million people are under heat alerts, mostly in the eastern half of the country. Extreme heat can cause pre-existing health conditions to get worse, and these 30-plus degree days could last well into the fall. Idil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
Back to local news now. Downtown Windsor is getting a pick-me-up with a new event that is sure to light up the night. Jason Vio reports.
Sculptures, interactive displays, textile work, and lightbox art, all on display here in downtown Windsor, both inside and outdoors. It's called Night Light 2025, a first-of-its-kind festival here in downtown Windsor. Most of it will take place inside of Art Windsor Essex, spilling out front, but also near the Aquatic Center, and then over at the Capitol Theatre as the Windsor Symphony Orchestra is involved. Here are a few examples of light-based art pieces that will be coming from outside the city for the festival, like this one that allows people to swing back and forth while the light hits them in unique ways, and this interactive touch-screen art piece called Splinter.
The idea of bringing something new and exciting to downtown Windsor, something that's going to drive tourism, something that's going to have an economic benefit to the community, but also just be something really fun and incredible and something that downtown Windsor has never seen the likes of before.
The outdoor exhibitions will be on display from September 1st until September 21st. The festival runs Thursday, September 18th and Friday the 19th for 2 paid events, and then Saturday, September 20th is a free family day from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. More than $200,000 from the Gordie Howe Community Benefit Plan was used to help make the Night Bright event happen, and it's the first time that they've used money from the bridge project to help an event in downtown Windsor. Mostly those are funded either in Sandwich Town or closer to the bridge here in West Windsor. Now, we also did get an update on the bridge. It is on track to be open by the end of this year. However, there is no date or month set just yet. Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
LaSalle swimming champ Kylie Moss came just shy of the podium in the women's 100-meter backstroke final in Singapore. Moss finished 4th, only 0.32 seconds behind the 3rd-place finisher.
And McEwen is on her way. It may even be a world record. McEwen goes in and takes the gold, and she takes it a championship record.
It wasn't the finish Canadian swimming fans were hoping for at the World Championships. Australia's Kaylee McEwen came out on top. While Moss took 4th place, she had won this event at both the 2017 and 2019 World Championships. Her teammate and fellow Canadian, Taylor Ruck, finished 7th. To the west now, where a rare grizzly bear attack has left a BC man with serious injuries. He underwent surgery and is expected to recover. As Georgie Smythe reports, quick action by his wife may have saved him from much worse.
Popular riverside trails are now no-go zones after a frightening grizzly attack near Creston, a town close to the US border in BC's southeast. where husband and wife were e-biking Saturday afternoon along a network of paths in a valley. Locals say the town's mayor.
They came around kind of a blind corner and they were right on those bears. The bears were on that trail, and the attack happened very quickly.
Thankfully, the woman was prepared and fast to react.
She saw a bear run past her, and then she heard her husband yelling, and she came upon the other bear attacking her husband. So she used bear spray on both bears. First, the bear that ran by her, and then secondly, to just help stop the attack.
The man was moved to this hospital where he got surgery for significant injuries. Every year, British Columbians call in grizzly encounters by the hundreds. Numbers fluctuate, but serious attacks are uncommon. In this part of the Kootenays, the grizzly population has grown after conservation efforts. Education, like how to use bear spray, is key, say those working to keep bears and humans apart.
And we want to make sure as we develop and grow that we are aware of how to deal with such situations and are aware of when we go for a cycle or go for a walk, what should we be looking out for and how do we prepare?
This attack brings that home for residents.
Sometimes I don't make sure that I have my bear spray, but I will be now. Yeah, always be aware. You have to be aware. We live in a forest.
When I'm hiking, sometimes I sing out loud or something, but yeah, that'll send any bear running the other way.
Conservation officers say it's likely the couple startled the grizzlies and that the attack was defensive, so the bears will be left alone. Georgie Smythe, CBC News, Vancouver.
In some neat news across the pond, Danish scientists are using artificial intelligence to develop anti-venom. They're using it to design proteins that neutralize snake venom toxins that can cause serious injury and even death. 5 million people are bitten by snakes around the world every year, and the researchers emphasize that their work is important.
Often, the snakebite victims are either current or future breadwinners of their family. So people living in snake-infested areas are often dependent on manual labor. So if they lose an arm, they may lose their chance to provide for their family or their future family.
The proteins target so-called three-finger toxins, which are found in cobra venom. These toxins disrupt nerve signals, causing paralysis or death if not treated. Scientists believe the AI-designed antitoxins will be cheaper and easier to produce than traditional antivenoms, and they may also work more quickly. The initial clinical trials are expected to be completed within 5 years. From antivenom to boxing, AI was on full display in China. Not something you see every day. Humanoid robots in headgear traded powerful punches at the 2025 World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Shanghai. They were controlled remotely by operators outside the ring. Like their human counterparts, these boxers demonstrated great agility and balance, punches, kicks, and recoveries from falls. It was of the most eye-catching displays at the conference, but there were many other robot demonstrations. Mahjong players, dancers, and musicians also performed. All right, now to one of CBC's most viewed stories today. It's all about two very famous faces. Pop star Katy was spotted having dinner in Montreal with former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Now, it is unclear how the meeting came to be. We do know that Perry is performing tonight in Ottawa, and she will be in Montreal and Quebec City later this week as part of her latest tour. So you never know who may turn up in the audience. Check out the full article on our website at cbc.ca. Let's take a live look outside there. The skies seem to have been turning a little bit more gray as we head into the evening. Still very hot out there with that heat warning. Expected to lift, if not tonight, then into tomorrow, as Colette mentioned, and then a little bit cooler conditions in the days ahead, which I know will be a nice relief. Now, when we come back, we will turn to international news and specifically to the Middle East, where famine is unfolding across Gaza. Stay with us. Welcome back. A gunman killed 4 people when he opened fire in a Manhattan skyscraper Monday night. One of the victims is a police officer. It is the deadliest mass shooting New York has seen in 25 years. The CBC's Marianne Demain has the latest developments.
Investment firm Blackstone, which has offices in the Park Avenue skyscraper where the deadly shooting took place, has confirmed in a statement that one of its senior executives was among those killed yesterday. In the statement, they identified that worker as Wesley LePatner, a married woman with children who they describe as brilliant, passionate, warm, generous, and deeply respected within the firm and beyond. The other person who has been identified as one of the people killed yesterday is an NYPD officer, 36-year-old Diderul Islam. They say he was married with 2 sons. His wife isn't expecting their 3rd child. It is the deadly aftermath of this shooting that police say happened during rush hour Monday evening around 6:30 p.m. local time. They say the suspect arrived in a black BMW that he double parked. He walked by himself armed with a rifle, entered the Park Avenue skyscraper and opened fire, killing 4 people. They say his body was found on the 33rd floor with what they describe as a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump took to social media this morning. I have been briefed on the tragic shooting that took place in Manhattan, a place that I know and love. My heart is with the families of the 4 people who were killed, including the NYPD officer who made the ultimate sacrifice. The names of the other 2 people killed yesterday have not yet been released, but we do know the name of the suspect. Police say it is 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas. He was also a high school football player. That is an important detail because the mayor of New York says that the suspect was found with a note in which he says he claims to have CTE. That is a disease linked to trauma of the head, also associated with athletes like football players. Eric Adams also says that in that note he had grievances against the NFL, which has its headquarters in that very skyscraper where that shooting took place yesterday. Mayor Eric Adams saying that the NFL offices were the target of the shooter. That is the belief, according to investigators as well. But he took the wrong elevator, and that's why he ended up on the 33rd floor. Investigators, meanwhile, are also looking into his history and his health. In a memo to employees, the NFL commissioner told those who work in that office that one person from that office was injured in the shooting and is now in stable condition. The NFL Players Association has sent their condolences to those who were killed. Marianne Demain, CBC News, Toronto.
The UK has announced it will declare a Palestinian state in September unless Israel takes steps to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. It is also demanding that Israel agree to a ceasefire and commit to a long-term peace process. This comes as a UN-backed monitor warns that, quote, widespread death will happen unless immediate action is taken. It says Gaza has been teetering on the brink of famine for 2 years. The IPC says Israeli blockades are making the situation more dire. Also, much of the aid entering Gaza has been hoarded by gangs and merchants and sold at exorbitant prices. That is according to the Associated Press. Officials in the Hamas-run territory now say 60,000 people have been killed in the 21-month war. It started when Hamas militants attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. And Russia launched bombs and a barrage of missiles at Ukraine overnight, killing at least 25 people. The attacks came just hours after Donald Trump moved up his deadline for a ceasefire to the end of next week and threatened to punish Moscow with sanctions and tariffs if it doesn't happen. The worst of the strikes was on a prison in southeastern Ukraine. 4 bombs hit the correctional facility in the middle of the night, killing at least 17 inmates and wounding dozens of others. In central Ukraine, Russian missiles struck a maternity hospital and other medical facilities. A young pregnant woman was among those killed. Russia later acknowledged Trump's new deadline for a ceasefire, saying that it is committed to the peace process, but insisting military operations will continue until there is a settlement. Paula Kennedy will be back with us after the break with your full weather forecast. Stay with us. Colette Kennedy is back now with more on weather. Colette, we're going to start with the heat because I feel like we're always talking about how hot it is and these heat warnings, and it feels like we're in a heat warning more than we're not, which I know is more than it actually is, but how bad has it been?
Yeah, I'd say through the last couple of months, we've had at least a half dozen heat warnings and many of these multi-days in terms of how long they go on. So we'll kind of do a little checkup here and look at the numbers, what we've had for Windsor. So the hottest day so far was not actually in this month of July. It was last month at almost 35 degrees back on the 24th. But days we've had in 2025 of a temperature of 30 degrees or warmer, well, we've had 23 of those, and I'm including today because we got there again today as well. And it's kind of interesting. It has happened in April and in May, but it actually didn't this year. And the warmest day in April was closer to getting to 30 degrees than happened in May, because May was just such a cool month. I mean, in general, it was a cooler month, but not the case. We had 9 days in June, 14 days this month where we've gotten there. And in 2024, 23 days, but there's data missing on 2. I think we probably had 25 when I was looking at those days. And here's your average number of days where we get to 30 degrees or more, 24, and we're already here. So, yeah, I think we're going to surpass that. On average, we get another 5 of these in August, on average, and this has been a warmer than usual summer, and we usually get a couple more in September as well. So we'll take the tally when we get to the end. Current temperature, though, right now is 30 degrees, but the humidex is 40. That's what it actually feels like. And just to update you with the heat warning, yes, Environment Canada is saying that it will end tonight, but they may kind of be a little bit slower in lifting it because tomorrow temperatures are pretty close to meeting the criteria. We've got cooler air coming, but it's going to take some time. Not a lot of moisture. You can see we're kind of surrounded around this ridge of high pressure, protecting us and keeping things dry, but we could use some of the rain showers and some moisture coming through. So just an isolated shower chance tonight. I think we're going to stay dry into tomorrow. Then we could see a few things bubbling up in the afternoon. It's a greater chance tomorrow night into Thursday that we get some soaking rains pushing through, but pretty quickly. And then we'll have some clearing behind that as we're heading towards the end of the week and the holiday weekend. Tonight, 22 degrees, so still very warm overnight tonight. Tomorrow, 29, still feeling like 39. That's why we'll see when they exactly pull the heat warning. But look at after that, not only those daytime highs, but the overnight lows in the mid-teens.
Yeah, I'm relieved to see those numbers. Thank you so much, Colette. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We will see you tomorrow.
Good night.